All right, so the redemption project began with Satan, and then God told him, because you made man disobey my instruction, I brought you subject to the seed of the woman whom you deceived. God pronounced a curse upon the devil. And then the curse was that the seed of the woman will bruise the serpent's head. That was the genesis of the project of redemption. That he had become subject to the seed of the woman, had not taken away disobedience and wickedness from life. Wickedness continued. And that led me to the second person in the project. The second man in the project is the man called Noah. Who was Noah? Noah was someone that was found to be obedient to God's instruction and the dictate of God. The Bible said Noah found grace and favor. He found favor with God. Grace for which God selected him for the preservation of the wicked world. God selects. God selects. The scripture was very profound about it. Genesis chapter 6. God selected Noah and to represent the whole world because he was seen to be a righteous man. He was seen to be cut off from what makes God angry. God chose Noah. In the selection of Noah, God preserved humanity. So, after the curse, the subjection of the devil, God had to preserve humanity from the old nature, then into a new, through the Ark of Covenant that brought a new world after the destruction of the water. And that leads me to the third person in the project. The third man in the project was the man called Abraham. Now, why God established a covenant of preservation with Noah, the covenant with Abraham was the covenant of blessing. And then remember, God keeps saying, if you obey my commandments, his instruction and covenant with Abraham is in obedience. If you obey my instruction, you do what I ask you to do, I will bless you. Deuteronomy, I will bless you indeed. No curse will be upon you. So there have been existing curse because of the disobedience of man. But God is saying to Abraham that if you will live according to my dictate, the curses, they will not reside in your land. So understand this, why the covenant with Noah was the covenant of preservation, God's covenant with Abraham was the covenant of blessing. So when you become preserved, the next thing that God does for you, he blesses you. He gives you all you need to just remain. And that leads me to the fourth person on stage. The fourth man on stage was the man called Moses. And now the covenant with Moses was the law, the covenant of protection and guidance, leadership. God gave Moses a law, and the covenant was on helping man live in such a way that they remain guided, led, and preserved. From Noah's preservation to Abraham's blessing, and from Abraham's blessing to God's leadership, God's guidance through the law. All of these are processes towards the redemption of mankind. God keeps guiding man into the path that takes him to his throne. And then that leads me to the fifth man on the stage. The fifth person we need to talk about was the man called David. The covenant with David. God's covenant with David was so unique. It was a covenant of rulership. So in guidance, you get into rulership. Understand this? As soon as God begins to guide you, He lifts you into rulership. And the covenant with David was the covenant of rulership, kingship. The throne, establishment of the throne of David. And it's under the throne that later Jesse was born, and then far into the future, Joseph was given birth to, through whom Jesus Christ came to be. The redemption project began with 5 personalities. The first was the devil, who made man sin in disobedience through deception. And the Bible said God subjected him to the seed of the woman. And God said the seed of this woman will bruise your head. So from the deception of the devil, which led to his subjection to the seed of the woman, to the preservation of humanity in Noah, that led to the blessings in Abraham, down to the covenant with Moses, which was the covenant of guidance and leadership, until man gets into the throne. And the throne covenant was established with David, the fifth man on the stage. It was on that throne covenant the kingship was established, and then there was the promise of the Messiah in Jesus, who came to be through Joseph in the New Testament.